Belden, today a quaint rest stop along Highway 70 above the Feather River. A mining camp started by the Belden family and even a post office in 1909. Today only about 15 people live here. There is a hotel with a bar and cafe, and camping spots available. This is the home of the Funk Festival in summer also, where the funkiest people come to jam to funk music. Way before that, however, it was a railroad town and even a resort for Bay Area fishermen. It was named for the Belden family, primarily Mrs. Susan Lee Belden, a homesteading pioneer and stalwart member of the Mountain Maidu. But what happened to the other members of her family, both of her husbands and her 3 sons? Charles Belden, Sr. According to the June 13, 1868 edition of the Feather River Bulletin, Charles Belden had been ill for quite some time with a condition known to physicians as softening of the brain. He retired to San Francisco with the anticipation of improving his health. But he slowly went insane as the days passed. He ended up spending the night wandering through a local cemetery, was found the next morning and taken to the home of some friends. He died there a short time afterwards. His obituary notes he was respected by all who knew him. Robert Workman, Susan's second husband. He was a miner and Workman's Bar is named in his honor. Shortly after sluicing Indian Creek with his stepson Robert, he fell ill and passed in the county hospital. A simple notice in the local paper marks the date as April 18, 1896, and mentions that he was a native of England. William Workman, Susan's youngest son and the only child from her second marriage. Nothing is known of William, other than he died at a very young age shortly after his father's demise. The bulletin notes he was 24 years of age and he died in the mining camp of Long Bar, on East Branch of the Feather River on June 18, 1898. Charlie Belden, Jr., the eldest son from Susan's first marriage. Charlie was a well-respected trapper, guide, and businessman in Plumas County. In high school he fell in love with a young Maidu woman named Lucille Farmer and they were sweethearts until they each chose a different path in life. Both married others and raised families of their own. Charlie served as postmaster of Belden's post office, like his brother, and built a very successful hotel which he sold in 1920. He was known for his epic mustache. And then in 1914 they happened to cross paths again. By this time, Charlie's wife and Lucille's husband had both fallen asleep in death, and it was serendipitous that they still carried the flame of youth for one another. Reunited at last, they were finally married December 1, 1915 and remained together the rest of their lives. Charlie passed in the summer of 1940, aged 77. Robert Belden, the second son from Susan's first marriage. He was probably the most celebrated of the entire Belden family, labeled an historic figure upon his demise. He proudly announced later in life that he had never lived anywhere except in the little town bearing his family name. Robert covered a great deal of ground when it came to earning $1. He was a miner like his father and stepfather before him. Gaining great experience throughout his youth, he served as foreman of the Belden Mining Company, and worked several of his own claims up and down the Feather River. After the town of Belden was established, he was appointed the community's first postmaster. He also hired out as a local timberman, and in September of 1899, while logging near the Beatty home on the North Fork, his right hand was crushed when it was smashed between a falling tree and one still standing. It was necessary to amputate both his thumb and forefinger. 6 years later, the Western Railroad arrived in Belden, and Robert offered his family home as a lodging place for the railroad workers. On a Friday in 1908, a pack of subcontractors attempted to blast out a nearby hillside with a charge of powder. Instead, an explosion of large stones crashed into Bob's house, which was some 300 feet away, completely demolishing his kitchen. Robert's leg was badly lacerated in the accident, and his wife was extremely unhappy. Robert Belden followed his brother into death in the spring of 1947. His obituary notes that he was a great hunter and fisherman, and was revered by all who came to fish the Feather River each season. A widower late in life, he lived in an old shack on the far side of the river he had known his entire life, which was only accessed by a bucket attached to a cable. A friend was summoned who quickly went for help, but by the time they returned, Robert was gone, thought to be a victim of a heart attack. He was survived by a son in Sacramento and another who served in the Armed Forces of America. If you get a chance, cross the Red Bridge and go experience Belden, get some food, eat on the patio overlooking all this history and the beautiful Feather River, or hang out inside among the antiques and memories of times past. This is another Finding NorCal approved hangout. Be sure to comment, like, and subscribe to this channel for more amazing Northern California wonders and history. And as always, happy trails.